We have 3 teams who survived battles for first place yesterday. We'll see if the competition heats up with our games today. The first one has Wiggly looking to maintain first place versus Svenskeren, who's been an absolute monster for Cloud9 so far this summer split. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we ask our fans to look at some funny images and look at the teams heading into Rift Rivals until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champions Select. Now, the standings have Cloud9, Clutch Gaming, Golden Guardians, and TSM just 1 win under the teams tied in first, while 100 Thieves have strung together 2 wins in a row, which puts them in 8th. In that race for first, though, chaining together a win streak could fall on the shoulders of a Fed hyper carry or a crucial solo kill. But then there are the players who blow every shield and heal to turn a play, just to say I'm helping, presented by State Farm. In his game versus FlyQuest, Biofrost Lux flashes in to save his new top laner. Take a look.
Wiggly going to try and cut him off. A decent pillar as they look to turn it back around, but Wadid's over the side as well. There's the Impale Ruin getting low, but he spins around that Biofrost.
Oh, the shield!
With the shield! Heal down as well! And Wiggly able to turn it around and grab the kill.
Oh my god, FlyQuest got way too greedy there. He thinks, okay, we can just grab this kill. No problem, I don't even need to commit heal. Then he gets stunned up, the pillar splits them up, and Biofrost on their own flash, shield, and heal comes through. They lose a kill, don't even trade one over.
That's the kind of trust you want in your teammates.
Cutting it too close.
I don't think that was
cutting it too close, my friend.
That is, you think you're dead, and this guardian angel miracle
you've
comes out of
given up,
nowhere.
right?
Yeah,
You've already taken your hands off the keyboard in that regard. Did pick up player of the game for that one as well. But Biofrost has impressed so far summer split on some of his support picks. A lot of mages, the Zyra earlier on, the Lux, of course, which has risen to dominance for a lot of players as well.
He's kind of shining in CLG on its own right, because CLG now in this new iteration in 2019, it kind of doesn't have the superstar power that we always expected, and now Biofrost gets to shine with those mages in the bottom lane that are just slowly coming back. Now that Karma is in there, you got the Sona, the Zyras, the Luxes. It's going to keep going that way.
And he has a great champion pool. I mean, you need to remember the first time we saw Biofrost, he was playing Bard and stuff.
And Thresh.
Yeah, and Thresh. So he can really play
Karma.
whatever his team needs. Yeah, and Karma. And so it is trending more towards the supportive type mages, but that's what's so great about a player like Biofrost. He's very flexible.
Now, today starts with a clash at the top between Cloud9 and CounterLogic Gaming, but then in Game 3, Clutch Gaming challenges Team Liquid with Golden Guardians versus TSM shortly after that. LCS cooldown comes after Game 5, where Contracts and Olay join for some fun and games before the Academy Showcase, Echo Fox versus Clutch Gaming Academy, to wrap up the weekend. Game 1 has the potential to be a gigantic clash, so let's see what Freak and Kobe are looking towards in that match.
Thank you very much, Dash. What are you looking for? What do you see out there?
Some hype, Freak.
You see some hype?
Hype me up.
I see it too. It is an exciting matchup here between CLG and Cloud9 on CLG's side. Wiggly is a surging jungler. He's had great game after great game. He's up against Svenskeren, though, who has also been an absolute monster in this split.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have Svenskeren right up there for best jungler of summer split. Interesting matchup here. As you can see, nice KDA there for Wiggly. He's been a huge playmaker for CLG in a lot of their wins, but Svenskeren's stats are overwhelming, especially that early game gold lead. He has been a monster for the team. I think this is really setting up for a very high quality match, as this is definitely going to be 2 top of the table teams going at each other. For CLG, it's especially big because winning yesterday meant that now they're in the position in first place that if they win today, it'll be 2 consecutive weeks to hold first place, and they'll have a 5-game win streak going. And we can't even remember the last time that they've had this much success. CLG is actually making a very big push in summer.
Yeah, super impressive to see how CLG have played so far. Of course, Cloud9 no slouches in their own right. Svenskeren back in the lineup here for today. That is what we're looking for heading into Game 1. Until then, back to you at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I think taking a look at both of those junglers' stats, it should be noted how active they are in the early game and how much they mean for both of their squads in terms of gaining early advantages.
And it makes me want to do a deeper dive into the numbers, because they both had, 3 and above kills and assists at 15, which means they're both very active, both above 40% in team jungle proximity, meaning they're always around their teams. But Svenskeren had substantially higher goal difference, which means either his team is converting from those kills better into more objectives, or he is probably pathing better while making those plays to get a larger individual lead, as well as helping his team out. And so it makes me want to do a little bit more analysis. I'm like, oh, I should have dug in a little bit more.
Well, he also had more damage, right?
Yeah.
And Scarian, so I think his champion pool does tend to favor more of the early skirmishing, whereas Wiggly, he's got Sejuani's and Trundles that's been kind of the MO for CLG most recently that doesn't actually contribute that much when it comes to just DPS, which is less plates, is less speed at doing objectives, which does result in less gold as well.
Yeah, even during spring when CLG was struggling, Wiggly was one of the players that was called out as showing some potential. And then here in summer, you can kind of track the upswing of CLG right alongside the improvements for Wiggly as one of the younger junglers in the league. As we go to break, though, it can be tough climbing up the ranks of solo queue, so we had some pros give Rick Fox advice as he continues on his quest to bronze.
I think he's in... What is the lowest tier? Is it wood? No, it's iron. But no, wood's not a tier. I saw Rick tweeting about being an Iron 4, and I saw a post on Reddit that was he's actually the bottom 100 players in the NA server. That's pretty great. That's really impressive. Actually, really impressive.
He'll post some funny tweets like, yo, I made it out of like Iron 2 or something, playing Lucian, and then you check the stats and it's like hilarious. He had like 20 deaths, but he won the game.
I think like with his passion, he will eventually like start climbing up, right?
Advice for solo queue? All right, Rick, bro, look, I sucked ass too in my day. So, yo, keep trying. Keep on the champions you want to play. You know you've been spamming Lucian, so
Forget the meta, forget what everybody else says to do. Play your game. Gonna take this game!
Well, I did beat Fox with Lucian, so if you want some tips, he can watch my game against his own team and see how you play Lucian.
Man, he didn't even play cleanup, lost too far forward. Gonna make it a double kill, gonna be a triple kill!
Try to save your dash for dodging sideways, because then you're not always putting yourself in a position to just instantly die.
Be aggressive. I know he's a Lucian player, so if you're playing Lucian, you gotta just kind of walk in their face, get ready to dodge some skill shots, and just E on them, fight them.
That allows Stixay to push forward, feeling safe for a second kill.
Just don't give up on your climb, Rick. That's all I got.
Words of encouragement. Rick, I think you suck, but you know you suck, and that's the first step in not sucking, so good luck.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where we're narrowing in towards Game 1 of the day. Next week, though, Team Liquid, Cloud9, and TSM will compete for NA Pride versus some fine folks from overseas and some other league. So let's get a refresher of the LEC representatives coming into this one, starting with G2, our MSI champions.
Not much needs to be said about this team. I think everyone is mostly aware they are the MSI champions. They have this crazy playstyle where they're very aggressive, matched by their very crazy pick ban phase. They can do pretty much anything that they want, it feels like. And they are one of the only teams to come back from MSI and basically pick up where they left off, still crushing their league, whereas pretty much every other team is struggling a little bit more in their respective regions.
They are responsible for our NA Pike shenanigans because every single player...
They have handed NA losses in an event they're not even at.
Yeah.
Curse you.
They did lose a game, though, versus Fnatic, who is on the rise, it feels like.
Well, that's the crazy one, too, because Fnatic is a team that just last year, they were in the World Finals, right?
Yep.
They were in MSI champions. They were in the World Finals. And this team has kind of been slightly forgotten because G2 was making so much noise winning MSI. But right now, they're undefeated in the LEC. And they just took down G2 and stomped them.
Right.
So I think that Fnatic is also just a huge powerhouse that we have to keep in mind. I mean, Whippo in the top one, and then Nemesis, the guy that had to come in and fill in for Caps, who's touted as Baby Faker, now just has somebody that randomly can come in and fill in his shoes. What's up with the EU mids that are so consistent? It just never stops.
Yeah, I mean, to be the third best mid in EU is still extremely good. That's kind of where a lot of people power rank him. And it is the kind of thing where, like, they only lost one member realistically. I mean, you have Soaz and Bwipo who are splitting time at Worlds, and obviously Caps left. But this is still pretty much the same team with Nemesis minus Caps. Right. That's a world finalist team. So they're super good. I still have a hard time putting them over G2. G2.
I think
it's a regular
yeah.
season game. Things can happen. So I think G2 has a bit more of a proven track record this year. But the fact that they even have two teams like this close is very scary.
6-0 Fnatic, 5-1 G2. The third team that they'll be sending is, of course, Origin. For those of you who are Deficio fans, that would be his squad. But they're sitting at, no, there aren't many out there, but we'll pander to the few. 3-3 is the record of Origin over in Europe right now. So I think it is fair to say that you are looking at those top two as, you know, the serious tournament contenders in terms of, you know, running away with it, and then Origin looking to bring up the rear.
I mean, this team's got veterans lined up, but they're also new stars, like the one in the AD carry position bot lane now. Patrick continues to impress time and time again, and he's alongside Mithy, who just last year was playing in NA. So I think that this team coming to Rift Rivals probably has a lot to show.
And I think you have to shout out Nuke Duck as well. You know, Patrick has been a little bit more of the star this split, but last split, Nuke Duck was their primary carry. And he's an absolute stud. He's been around forever as well. Like you said, the veteran's been around since Season 3 Lemon Dog.
His champ pool is nutty. I think he has like a different champion every single game just because he can.
Affectionately known as the champion Ocean for Nuke Duck there. But yes, I love the call out to Season 3 Worlds where, you know, at that point, being one of the younger guys on the stage, he was touted as this could be the next big mid laner. Of course, Caps then rising to that title within Europe.
It's tough to hold on to the big mid laner in EU. There's a lot of them.
Exactly. There are far too many of them. That, of course, brings us back to North America, though, and the three teams that will be competing on our behalf. That is Team Liquid, who dropped the MSI finals to G2, as well as TSM and Cloud9.
I know that we're going to look at Team Liquid as the crown jewel here and what we're sending over to Rift Rivals, but I think Cloud9 is the one that's got a soft spot in my heart. They always do well internationally, and even though not the whole world is here, it's the whole world to us, because we just need to beat EU here just for some sort of redemption. And Cloud9 always delivers, and they always have a lot more fun with crazy strategies than any other team does.
You can see the combined rankings for the three teams that represent each region within their own region. So over in the LEC, a little bit more dominance being displayed, already racking up 14 wins between the three teams versus the 13 over here in the LCS.
Yeah, and you would love as an NA fan to say, oh, it's because we're more competitive.
We have such a competitive league.
We're so competitive. I'm sorry, I just can't lie to myself. Like, I really do think Fnatic and G2 are just super good, and I think you're hoping, you know, as an NA fan heading in that, like, okay, G2 is probably the best team of the tournament, but if our top three can hang with their two, then we can win by, you know, dropping games to G2 in this tournament format. If Fnatic is on G2's level, we're in a lot of trouble, and I think that's the big, you know, X factor is how good is Fnatic actually.
I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring here for something else here. I think Europe wins Worlds this year. It's in their homeland, and they are just so good right now.
What?
Yeah,
what?
I know.
Profit Crumbs.
It doesn't matter if we...
That segment was yesterday. What just happened?
Today, that's
all right, there you have it.
Nice
LEC fans, G2 wins Worlds, as predicted by Crumbs here in week 4 of the LCS, you crazy
This is like hotline when someone calls in.
What are you saying? Like, no, hang up. Get him off the show. I do want to return to the Cloud9 point, though, because I think when we do talk about how you can position these top two LEC squads as clear front runners to maybe dominate the tournament, Cloud9 is the team that excites me from an NA perspective of a team that might be able to stack up against the way that G2 plays a game. We talk about Cloud9 being the team most willing to take risk or opt into lower percentage, less, you know, guaranteed fights. And so, hey, that could be rather exciting to see someone actually say to G2, like, sure, we'll engage you in that fight and just see who outplays it.
I think, like, in that sense, they are the most aggressive North American team we have. And so against a team like G2, you can fight fire with fire and probably pull an upset, because I don't think Team Liquid has the fire to actually upset G2 in a best of...
Jet lag's on our side, too.
That's always the X factor as well. I think that the big thing I'm sad about is TSM is not in finals form. So, like, if we had finals TSM going, I would look at them as another team that last split we're playing this very aggressive style. The jungler swapping feels like it has been a step backwards to hopefully go 2 steps forwards, but we're still in the backwards part of that process.
Right, we don't have the time yet to get to that point. Well, either way, that tournament comes next week, so we'll see how the NA teams fare against the LEC. We're taking a quick break. As we go, let's learn a little more about what goes on between the Brushes and Rivers in another installment of Wild LCS.
In the wilds of the Rift, nowhere is survival more volatile than in the grasses of the bottom lane. Here, we get a rare glimpse into the backing dance of a wild Vastaya. the male begins their dance. The female considers they will only back with a duo they feel is strong enough to carry. The female rejects their offer. Today, they will back alone. Many bottom lane champions become apex predators at the top of the food chain. But they must first survive their precarious time as a cub. It is a dangerous time in the cub's life, but to grow strong, Stixxay will also need a steady diet. For this, they will need the whole pack. Wiggly approaches and will teach the young carry how to hunt. Lux begins. Nautilus realizes the young cub is not alone. The pack claims their prize. Later, they move to take down Baron Nashor. If successful, this hunt could keep them well fed. An enemy jungler threatens to take the pack's target. It is now up to the young carry to practice what he has learned. He runs the Sejuani off. A clean kill. The pack will be fed for the long game now, and thanks to the young hunter's determination, they will survive the winter. Thus, the cycle of life continues as the young grow strong in the wild LCS.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where we're working our way towards Game 1 of the day. Earlier, Avali took some time to gauge Reaper's confidence level coming into Game 1. Let's hear from her.
Thanks, guys. I just spoke with Cloud9 Coach Reaper about their loss against 100 Thieves yesterday. He said that when it came down to it, there were a lot of game-winning fights that they should have won, but just couldn't execute properly on. He said that the team wasn't too shaky, because at the end of the day, you can't win them all. And as long as you are learning from your mistakes from the game, that's the outcome of the positive. I also asked about Blabber getting a lot of play time, and he said that that is mainly in preparation for Rift Rivals coming up next week. He said that it's really good to get Blabber some stage experience right now, since he thinks he's going to be a really good weapon when it comes down to those best of fives moving forward. As for their opponent today against CLG, he thinks that CLG is pretty good team and has been doing very well, but he is really looking forward to outdrafting their coaching staff today. Back to you guys.
CLG drafting and Reaper recognizing that he'll have to outdraft them today. We'll get into that as we narrow in towards win conditions for the first game of the day. Before we get there, though, I want to take a look at some predictions.
Yes.
So, gentlemen, after a tough day of predictions yesterday where you guys completely aligned, it's only Game 4, Golden Guardians versus TSM, where you guys differ. Mark puts his faith behind Golden Guardians, who impressed yesterday, whereas Crumbs, you're going with TSM.
Yeah, he's trying to make a run for catching up here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if they didn't change their jungler, which is the big thing for me, I'm used to seeing Grig and Acadian swap. We saw 2 Grig games last week, now we're seeing 2 Acadian games. And I know I don't want to blindly follow the numbers, but they just statistically not very likely to win with Acadian in.
I saw the same thing, right? Acadian not having the stats, but I saw something that swayed me. I saw him tweet saying it's not going to happen again. So I'm like, okay, it's not going to happen again.
That's it? That's all it takes?
Well, to be fair, in spring, it was his tweet and meme that turned their season around TSM round.
Okay, all right. Maybe fair enough. But now I know. Crumbs will blindly believe anything I tell him if I say it with conviction.
I mean, Golden Guardians looks pretty good to me, too. So
all right, well, let's get into something a little fun here. With the two of you differing on Game 4, makes it a perfect candidate for today's Weekly Wager.
Oh, boy.
The Weekly Wager is very simple. The loser of the match will enjoy a delightful strawberry, banana, yogurt, and final ingredients TBD smoothie, awakening the drinker's senses with the welcoming flavor of pickle juice to balance the fruit. Or perhaps adding some much-needed protein with fragrant flair in anchovies. Send yourself back to the 90s with the at-home feel of a strawberry, banana, and SpaghettiOs. Chat can also elect to head overseas with your refreshing shake and add a little bit of fish sauce to the mix, because what smoothie couldn't use a little bit of what I believe is just fermented krill? Maybe send the lucky analyst back to the old ball game by adding mustard to that grand slam of a smoothie. And now, if the kind member of chat is worried about what these ingredients might do to an analyst's breath, well, there's always mint jelly to give that cool, refreshing element sorely missed from most smoothies. If the voter is a cheese fiend, I know I am, blue cheese is an easy go-to for any smoothie. And with the 4th of July right around the corner, why not add the subtle note of Americana with an entire hamburger in your smoothie?
Oh, no. The SpaghettiOs and the burger.
The mint jelly. Oh, why would anyone?
Oh, yeah.
Mint jelly.
Please don't put mint jelly in my smoothie, Twitch chat.
Not mint jelly. No, I'm
Okay,
allergic to mint jelly.
Here's the deal.
I'm gonna
Here's the
burn.
deal. The ingredients will be chosen by Twitch chat in the commercial break before Game 4. So make sure you stick around after Team Liquid versus Clutch Gaming to vote for the 3 ingredients that will be added to the smoothie. 3 crumbs. Believe it, because I said it with conviction, as I know you will. 3.
After seeing how, when it was just ingredients, I was like, okay, 3 ingredients. But you're putting whole meals. You're putting a whole hamburger in.
Well,
that should count for 2.
SpaghettiOs is
we
a
don't
whole
know
meal
what's
as well.
going in there just yet, Mark. And it's not going to be the whole burger. There will be a slice of the burger.
I was like, you're putting a whole meal in my smoothie.
You can't put
I
a whole
cannot
thing
wait for that
of
game.
Mint jelly in it.
And I assume we have to drink it during the post-game segment.
So I believe the way it'll work is upon completion of the game, the smoothie will be made and delivered to the loser of the bet, and they will have to consume the smoothie throughout the course of the post-game there, providing as insightful analysis as they
with a
possibly
puke bucket
can.
nearby, Rick.
With possibly a bucket close at hand. Before that game 1, though, I want to get those win conditions on the board. Cloud9 versus Counterlogic Gaming. Mark, Cloud9, how do they do it?
Refocusing here.
Yeah, right.
C9, for me versus CLG, I want them to find a volatile top lane matchup. I think Rune is quite skilled, but if you get something that is very susceptible to influence from other parts of the map, I still think C9 works better, and I think Svenskeren the better jungler right now. So then use that to camp top and mid lane and really try and snowball these leads. Biofrost and Stixxay look really hard to exploit in the bot lane right now, so go for probably the least connected part of the team in Ruin.
All right, how about CLG, Crumbs?
They need to go for the mint jelly play here.
You're really hammering with mint jelly.
No, but CLG,
I'm not convinced that's
their
the
win
best smoothie
conditions
ingredient, by the
is
way.
a tale as old as time. They have been doing the right thing, which is a scaling bottom lane. You've got good mid lane, good top lane, and then a strong jungle pick that makes sense in the meta, like the Sejuani and the Trundle. So what they're doing now, continue to do that. It's working for them. They're tied for first place. So, hey, we're not going to tell them what they need to do. They already know.
And that's why I'm excited to see what Reaper wants to do, because
he recognized.
Yeah, from Ovely's segment, she was talking about how he wants to outdraft them. He wants to put them off their game plan, which they feels like they have kind of perfected at this point in the season, where a lot of teams are struggling with what they want to do. CLG looks so good, and so I am very eager to see what he has in store.
Well, we'll see if C9 can bounce back today and push CLG off of comfort and force them to show something else strategically here today. Either way, the teams are just about ready, so it's time for us to head out to the battle arena to get into game 1.
Thank you very much, Dash. Welcome to the caster booth. Welcome to the battle arena. I am Freak. This is Kobe. We've got a battle across 2 of the very best teams in the league. Counterlogic Gaming in first, Cloud9. Third place team from last split, a big heavy favorite in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, and after C9 yesterday dropped their game to 100 Thieves, CLG are actually coming into this matchup up in the rankings.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be an exciting one. Analyst Desk was talking a lot about the junglers especially. I think both of them have been stars for their teams in their successful summer starts.
And you can see the man who was on your screen a second ago, Wiggly there, now Svenskeren. Those are the 2 junglers, and they have both been having, I think, incredible splits. I think pretty easy to say maybe both players' best individual splits, but arguably also the 2 best junglers so far this year in the LCS. Wiggly is player of the game lead. I think he's got 4 With his team having 5 wins so far, he has been the one bringing his team to victory. Several deathless games. On average, 3 kills or assists pre 15 minutes. Does a lot for the squad. Team fights very well also.
Yeah, and we'll be